Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Modern Compendium for Intellectuals. My name is Ken, and today we're going to be reading the Bible. We're going to be continuing from last video in the Christian Standard Bible, reading from Genesis chapter 21 to Genesis chapter 50. Are you ready? If so, then sit back, relax, and let's get into it. The Lord came to Sarah as he said, and the Lord for Sarah had promised. Sarah had become pregnant and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the appointed time God had told him. Abraham named his son who was born to him, the one Sarah bore to him, Isaac. When his son Isaac was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised him, as God had commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when the son Isaac was born to him. Sarah said, God has made me laugh, and everyone who hears will laugh with me. She also said, would who have told Abraham that Sarah could nurse children? Yet I have borne a son for him in his old age. The child grew and was weaned, and Abraham had a great feast on the day that Isaac was hold on. Here we go. Abraham had a great feast on the day Isaac was weaned. But Sarah saw the son mocking, the one Hagar the Egyptian had borne to Abraham. So she said to Abraham, drive out the slave with her son. The son of the slave will not be a co-heir with my son Isaac. This was very distressing to Abraham because of his son. But God said to Abraham, do not be distressed about the boy and about your slave. Whatever Sarah says to you, listen to her, because your offspring will be traced through Isaac. I also will make a nation of the slave's son, because he is your offspring. Early in the morning Abraham got up, took bread and the water skin, and put them on Hagar's shoulders. He sent her and the boy away. She left him one in the wilderness of Beersheba. When the water skin was gone, she left the boy under one of the bushes and went and sat down a distance, about a bow shot away, for she said, I cannot bear to watch the boy die. While she sat in the distance, she wept loudly. God heard the boy crying. The angel of God called Hagar from heaven and said to her, what's wrong, Hagar? Do not be afraid, for God has heard the boy crying from the place where he is. Get up, help the boy up, and grasp his hand, for I will make him a great nation. Then God opened her eyes, and she saw well. So she went and filled the water skin and gave the boy a drink. God was with the boy, and he grew. He settled in the wilderness and became an archer. He settled in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother got a wife for him in the land of Egypt. At the time, Abimelech accompanied the Pickle, the commander of his army, and said to Abraham, God is with you in everything you do. Swear to me by God, here and now, that you will not break an agreement with me or with my children and my descendants, as I have been loyal to you. So you will be loyal to me and to the country where you are a resident alien. And Abraham said, I swear it. But Abraham complained to Abimelech because of the well that Abimelech's servants had seized. Abimelech replied, I don't know who did this. You didn't report anything to me, so I hadn't heard of it until today. Abraham took flocks and herds and gave them to Abimelech, and two of them made the covenant. Abraham separated 7 ewe lambs from the flock, and Abimelech said to Abraham, why have you separated these 7 ewe lambs? He replied, you are to accept the 7 ewe lambs from me, so that this act will serve as my witness that I dug this well. Therefore, that place was called Beer-sheba, because it was there that the two swore an oath. After they made a covenant at Beer-sheba, Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, left and returned to the land of the Philistines. Abraham planted the tamarisk tree in Beer-sheba, and there he called the name of the Lord the everlasting God. And Abraham lived as an alien in the land of the Philistines for many days. Chapter 22. After these things God tested Abraham and said to him, Abraham. Here I am, he answered. Take your son, he said, your only son Isaac, whom you love. Go to the land of Moriah and offer him there as a burnt offering, one of the mountains I will tell you about. So Abraham got up early in the morning, saddled his donkey, and took him to the two of his young men and his son Isaac. He split wood and burnt an offering and set out to go to the place God had told him about. On the third day Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. And Abraham said to his young men, Stay here with the donkey. The boy and I will go over there to worship, then we'll come back for you. Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and laid it on his son Isaac. In his hand he took the fire and the knife, and the two of them walked on together. Then Isaac spoke to his father Abraham, and said, My father. And he replied, Here I am, my son. Isaac said, The fire and the wood are here, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? Abraham answered, God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son. And the two of them walked together. Then when they arrived at the place that God had told them about, Abraham built the altar. There he arranged the wood. He bound his son Isaac and placed him on the altar above the wood. Abraham reached out and took the knife to slaughter his son. The angel of the Lord called to him from the heavens and said, Abraham, Abraham! He replied, Here I am. Then he said, Do not lay a hand on the boy or do anything to him, for now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your only son from me. Abraham looked up and saw a ram, caught the thicket by its horns. So Abraham went and took the ram and offered it as a burnt offering in place of his son. And Abraham named that place, The Lord will provide. So today it is said, It will be provided on the Lord's mountain. Then the angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time from heaven and said, By myself I have sworn that this is the Lord's declarations. Because you have done this thing and have not withheld your only son, I will indeed bless you and make your offering as numerous as the stars of the sky and the sand of the seashore. Your offspring will possess the city and gates of their enemies. All the nations of the earth will be blessed by your offspring, because you have obeyed my command. Abraham went back to his young men, and they got up and went together to Beersheba. And Abraham settled in Beersheba. Now after these things Abraham was told, Malachah, you also been born sons to your brother Nahor, whose his firstborn his brother Buz, Kemuel the father of Aram, Chesed, Hazo, Pildash, Jidlaph, Bethuel, and Bethuel fathered Rebekah. Milcah bore these 8 to Nahor, Abram's brother. His concubine, whose name was Reumah, bore Tebah, Gahan, Tahash, Makkah. Sorry, chapter 23. Now Sarah lived 127 years. These were all the years of her life. Sarah died in Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham went to mourn for Sarah and weep for her. When Abraham got up from beside his dead wife, he spoke to the Hittites, I am an alien residing among you. Chapter 23. Now Sarah lived 127 years. These were all the years of her life. Sarah died in Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham went to mourn for Sarah and weep for her. Then Abraham got up from beside his dead wife. He spoke to the Hittites, I am an alien residing among you. Give me burial property among you so that I can bury my dead. Hittites replied to Abram, Listen to us, my lord. You are a prince of God among us. Bury your dead in our finest burial place. None of us will withhold from you his burial place for burying your dead. Then Abraham rose and bowed down to the Hittites, the people of the land. He said to them, If you are willing for me to bury my dead, listen to me and ask Ephron, son of Zor, on my behalf, to give me the cave of Machpelah that belongs to him. It is at the end of his field. Let him give it to me in your presence for the full price as burial property. Ephron was sitting among the Hittites, so that in the hearing all the Hittites who came to the gate of the city, Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham, "No, my lord, listen to me. I give you the field, and I give you the cave that is in it. I give it to you in the sight of my people. Bury your dead." Abraham bowed down to the people of the land and said to Ephron in the hearing of the people of the land, "Listen to me. If you please, let me pay the price of the field, accept it from me, and let me bury my dead there." Ephron answered Abraham and said to him, "My lord, listen to me. Land is worth 4,000 shekels of silver. What is that between you and me? Bury your dead." Abraham agreed with Ephron, and Abraham weighed out to Ephron the silver they had agreed to in the hearing of the Hittites, 400 standard shekels of silver. So Ephron's field at Machpelah near Mamre, the field with the cave and all the trees, and anywhere within the boundaries of the field, became Abraham's possession, in the sight of all the Hittites who came to the gate of the city. After this, Abraham buried his wife Sarah in the cave in the field at Machpelah near Mamre, that is, Hebron, in the land of Canaan, the field where the cave passed from the Hittites to Abraham as burial property. Chapter 24. Abraham, now old enough, getting on years, and the Lord blessed him in everything. Abraham said to his servant, the elder of the household, who managed all he owned, "Place your hand under my thigh. I will have you swear by the Lord, God of heaven and the God of earth, that you will not take a wife from my son to stop me from my daughters of the Canaanites among whom I live, but will go to my land and my family to take a wife for my son Isaac." The servant said to him, "Suppose the woman is unwilling to follow me to this land. Shall I have your son go back to the land that you came from?" Abraham answered to him, "Make sure that you don't take my son back there. The Lord, the God of heaven, who took from my father's house and from my native land, who spoke to me and swore to me, 'I give this land to your offspring,' he will send his angel before you, and you can take a wife for my son from there. If the woman is unwilling to follow you, then you are free from this oath to me, but do not let my son go back there." So the servant placed his hand under the master Abraham's thigh, and swore an oath to him concerning this matter. The servant took 10 of his master's camels, with all kinds of the master's goods in hand, and he went to Abraham Naharaim, to Nahor's town. At the evening, the time when the women went out to draw water, he made the camels kneel beside a well outside the town. "Lord, God of my master Abraham," he prayed, "make this happen for me today, and show kindness to my master Abraham. I am standing here at the spring where the daughters of the men of the town are coming out to draw water. Let the girl whom I say, 'Please lower your water jug so that I may drink,' and who responds, 'Drink,' and I will water their camels also. Let her be the one that you have appointed for your servant Isaac. By this I will know that you have shown kindness to my master." Before he had finished speaking, there was Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Abraham's brother Nahor, coming with a jug on her shoulder. Now the girl was very beautiful, a virgin. No man had been intimate with her. She went down to the spring, filled her jug, and came up. The servant ran to meet her and said, "Please, let me have a little drink from your jug." She replied, "Drink, my lord." She quickly lowered her jug to her hand and gave him a drink. When she had finished giving him a drink, he said, "I will also draw water for your camels until they have enough to drink." She quickly emptied her jug into the trough and hurried to the well to draw another water. She drew water for all the camels. When the man silently watched her to see whether or not the Lord had made his journey a success, as the camels finished drinking, the man took a gold ring weighing half a shekel, and for her wrist 2 bracelets weighing 10 shekels of gold. "Whose daughter are you?" he asked. "Please tell me, is the room in your father's house before us to spend the night?" She answered him, "I am the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah, whom she bore to Nahor." She also said to him, "We have plenty of straw and feed, and a place to spend the night. Then the man knelt low, worshipped the Lord, and said, Blessed be the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who has not withheld his kindness and faithfulness from my master. As for me, the Lord has led me on the journey to the house of my master's relatives. The girl ran and told her mother's house and all these things. Now Rebekah had a brother named Laban, and Laban ran out to the man at the spring. As soon as he had seen the ring and the bracelets on my sister's wrist, and wore and heard his sister Rebekah's words, the man said this to me. He went to the man, standing there by the camels at the spring. Laban said, Come, you who are blessed by the Lord, why are you standing out here? I prepared the house and a place for the camels. So the man came to the house, and the camels were unloaded. Straw and feed were given to the camels, and water was brought to wash the feet and the feet of the men with him. A meal was set before him, but he said, I will not eat until I have said what I have to say. So Laban said, Please speak. I am Abraham's servant, he said. The Lord has greatly blessed my master, and he has become rich. He has given him flocks and herds, silver and gold, male and female slaves, and camels and donkeys. Sarah, my master's wife, bore a son to my master in her old age, and she has given him everything he owns. My master put me under this oath. You will not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, whose land I live. You will go to my father's family and said to my clan to take a wife for my son. But I said to my master, Suppose the woman will not come back with me. He said to me, The Lord before whom I have walked will send you his angel. With you will make your journey a success, and you will take a wife for my son, from my clan and from my father's family. Then you will be free from my oath. If you go to my family and they do not give her to you, you will be free from my oath. Today when I came to the spring, I prayed, Lord, God of my master Abraham, only you will make my journey successful. I am standing here at the spring, like the young woman who comes out to draw water, and I say to her, Please drink a little water from your who comes out to draw water, and I say to her, Please let me drink a little water from your jug, and who responds to me, Drink, and I'll draw water for your camels also. Let her be the woman the Lord has appointed for my master's son. Before I finished praying silently, there was Rebekah coming with her jug on her shoulder. She went down to the spring and drew water. So I said to her, Please, let me have a drink. She quickly lowered her jug from her shoulder and said, Drink, and I'll water your camels also. So I drank, and she also watered the camels. And I asked her, Whose daughter are you? She responded, The daughter of Bethuel, son of Nahor, whose Milcah bore him. So I put the ring on her nose and the bracelets on her wrist. Then I knelt down low, worshipped the God, and blessed the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who guided me on the right way to take the granddaughter of my master's brother for his son. Now if you are going to show kindness and faithfulness to my master, tell me. If not, tell me, and I will go elsewhere. Laban and Bethuel answered, This is from the Lord. We had no choice in the matter. Rebekah is here in front of you. Take her and go. Let her be a wife for your master's son, just as the Lord has spoken. Abraham sent for their words. He bowed on the ground before the Lord. He brought out objects of silver and gold and garments and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave precious gifts to her brother and her mother. Then he and the men with him ate and drank and spent the night. When they got up in the morning, he said, Send me to my master. But her brother and mother said, Let the girl stay with us for about 10 days. Then she can go. But he responded to them, Do not delay me. Since the Lord has made my journey a success, send me away so that I may go to my master. So they said, Let's call the girl and ask her opinion. They called Rebekah and said to her, Will you go with this man? She replied, I will go. So they sent away their sister Rebekah, the one who had nursed and raised her, and Abraham's servant and his men. They blessed Rebekah, saying to her, Our sister, may you become thousands upon 10,000s. May your offspring possess the city gates of their enemies. Then Rebekah and her female servants got up, mounted the camels, and followed the man. So the servants took Rebekah and left. Now Isaac was returning from Bir Haroi, where he was living in Negev region. In the early evening Isaac went out to walk in the field, and looking up he saw camels coming. Rebekah looked up, and when she saw Isaac, she got down from her camel and asked the servant, "Who is that man in the field coming to meet us?" The servant answered, "It is my master." So she took her veil and covered herself. So the servant told Isaac everything he had done. And Isaac brought her into the tent of his mother Sarah and Rebekah to be his wife. Isaac loved her, and he was comforted after his mother's death. Chapter 25. Abraham had taken another wife whose name was Keturah, and she bore him Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, Shuai. Jokshan fathered Sheba and Dedan. Dedan's sons were Asherim, Lethushim, Leumim, and Medan's sons were Ephah, Epher, Hanok, Adibah, Eladah, and all these sons of Keturah. Abraham gave everything he owned to Isaac. But Abraham gave gifts to the sons of his concubines. While he was still alive, he sent them eastward, away from his son Isaac, to the land of the east. This is the length of Abraham's life, 175 years. He took his last breath and died at a good old age, old and contented. He was gathered in his people. His sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, near Mamre, in the field of Ephron, son of Zur the Hethite. This was the field that Abraham bought from the Hethites. Abram was buried there with his wife Sarah. After Abraham's death, God blessed his son Isaac, who lived near Beer-lahai-roi. These are the family records of Abraham's son Ishmael, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's slave, bore to Abraham. These are the names of Ishmael's sons, and their names, according to their family records, are Nebaioth, Ishmael's firstborn, then Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, Mishma, Dumah, Massa, Hadad, Timah, Jetur, Naphish, and Kedemah. These are Ishmael's sons, and these are their names by their settlements and their encampments, 12 leaders of their clans. This is the length of Ishmael's life, 137 years. He took his last breath and died and was gathered to his people. They settled from Havilah to Shur, which is the opposite of Egypt as you go toward Ashur. He stayed near all of his relatives. These are the family records of Isaac, son of Abraham. Abraham fathered Isaac. Isaac was 40 years old when he took as his wife Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel the Aramean, from Paddan Aram, and sister of Laban the Aramean. Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was childless. The Lord was receptive to his prayer, and his wife Rebekah conceived. But the children inside her struggled with each other, and she said, "Why is this happening to me?" So she went and inquired of the Lord. The Lord said to her, "Two nations are in your womb. Two peoples will come from you and be separated. One people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger." When her time came to give birth, there were indeed twins in the womb. The first one came out red-looking, covered with hair like a fur coat. They named him Esau. After this, his brother came out, grasping Esau's heel with his hand, so he was named Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when they were born. When the boys grew up, Esau became an expert hunter and outdoorsman, but Jacob was a quiet man who stayed at home. Isaac loved Esau because he had a taste for the wild game. Rebekah loved Jacob. Once when Jacob was cooking a stew, Esau came in from the field exhausted. He said to Jacob, "Let me eat some of that red stuff because I am exhausted." That is why he was also named Edom. Jacob replied, "First, sell me your birthright." "Look," said Esau, "I am about to die, so what good is the birthright to me?" Jacob said, "Swear to me first." So he swore to Jacob and sold his birthright to him. Then Jacob gave bread and lentil stew to Esau. He ate, drank, got up, and went away. So Esau despised his birthright. Chapter 26. There was another famine in the land, in addition to the one that had occurred in Abram's time. Isaac went to Abimelech, king of the Philistines, at Gerar. The Lord appeared to him and said, "Do not go down to Egypt. Live in the land that I tell you about. Stay in the land as an alien, and I will be with you, and bless you. For I will give all these lands to you and your offspring. I will confirm the oath that I swore to your father Abraham. I will make your offspring as numerous as the stars in the sky. I will give your offspring all these lands, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed by your offspring." Because Abraham listened to me and kept my mandate, my commands, my statutes, and my instructions. So Isaac settled in Gerar. When the men of his place asked about his wife, he said, "She is my sister." For he was afraid to say my wife, thinking the men of this place will kill me on account of Rebekah, for she is a beautiful woman. Isaac had been there for some time. Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked down from the window and was surprised to see Isaac caressing his wife Rebekah. Abimelech sent for Isaac and said, "So she really is your wife? How could you say, 'She is my sister'?" Isaac answered him, "Because I thought I might die on account of her." Abimelech said, "What have you done to us? What have you done to us? One of the people could easily have slept with your wife, and you would have brought guilt on all of us." So Abimelech warned all the people, "Whoever harms this man or his wife will certainly be put to death." Isaac sowed seeds in that land, and that year he reaped 100 times what was sown. The Lord blessed him, and the man became rich, and kept getting richer until he was very wealthy. He had flocks of sheep, herds of cattle, and many slaves. The Philistines were envious of him. The Philistines stopped upon wells the father's servants had dug in the days of father Abraham, filling them with dirt. And Abimelech said to Isaac, "Leave us, for you are much too powerful for us." So Isaac left there, camped in Gerar Valley, and lived there. Isaac reopened the wells that he had dug in the days of his father Abraham, and the Philistines had stopped up after Abraham died. He gave them the same names his father had given them. And Isaac's servant dug in the valley and found a well of spring of water there. But when the herdsmen of Gerar quarreled with Isaac's herdsmen and said, "The water is ours," so he named the well Esek, because they argued with him. They dug another well and quarreled over that one also, so he named it Sidnah. He moved from there and dug another, and they did not quarrel over it. He named it Rehoboth, and said, "For now the Lord has made space for us, and we will be fruitful in the land." From there he went up to Beersheba, and the Lord appeared to him in the night and said, "I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. I will bless and multiply your offspring because of my servant Abraham." So he built an altar there, called on the name of the Lord, and pitched his tent there. Isaac's servant also dug a well there. Now Abimelech came to him from Gerar, and Ahuzath, his advisor, and Phicol from the commander of his army. Isaac said to him, "Why have you come to me? You hated me and sent me away from you." They replied, "We have clearly seen that the Lord has been with you. We think there should be an oath between two parties, between us and you. Let us make covenant with you. You will not harm us just as we have not harmed you, but have only done what was good to you, sending you away in peace. You are now blessed by the Lord." So he prepared the banquet to them, and they ate and drank, and they got up early in the morning and swore an oath to each other. Isaac sent them on their way, and they left him in peace. On that same day Isaac's servants came to him to tell him about the well they had dug, saying to them, "We have found water." He called to Sheba, therefore the name of city of Beersheba today. When Esau was 40 years old, he took his wives Judith the daughters of Beri the Hethite, and Basemath daughter of Elon the Hethite. They made life bitter for Isaac and Rebekah. Chapter 27. When Isaac was old, and his eyes were so weak that he could not see, he called his oldest son Esau and said to him, "My son." And he answered, "Here I am." He said, "Look, I am old, and I do not know the day of my death. So now take your hunting gear, your quiver and bow, and go out into the field and hunt some game for me, and make me a delicious meal that I will love, and bring it to me to eat, so that I can bless you before I die." Now Rebekah was listening to what Isaac said to his son Esau, so while Esau went to the field to hunt some game and bring it in, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, "Listen, I've heard your father talking with your brother Esau. He said, 'Bring me game and make me a delicious meal for me to eat so I can bless you in the name of the Lord's presence before I die.' Now, my son, listen to me and do what I tell you. Go to the flock and bring me 2 choice young goats. I'll make them into a delicious meal for your father, the kind he loves. Take it to your father to eat so that he may bless you before he dies." Jacob answered Rebekah his mother, "Look, my brother Esau is a hairy man, but I am a man with smooth skin. Suppose my father touches me, then I'll be revealed to him as a deceiver and bring a curse rather than a blessing on myself." His mother said to him, "Your curse be on me, my son. Just obey me and get them for me." So he went and got the goats and brought them to his mother. His mother made the delicious food his father loved. And Rebekah took the best clothes of her oldest son Esau, which were in the house, and had her younger son Jacob wear them. She put the skins of the young goats on his hands, the smooth part of his neck, and she handed the delicious food and the bread and wine and came to his son Jacob. When he came to his father, he said, "My father." He answered, "Here I am. Who are you, my son?" Jacob replied to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you have told me. Please sit up and eat some of my game, so that you may bless me." Isaac said to his son, "How did you ever find it so quickly, my son?" He replied, "Because the Lord your God made it happen for me." Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Please come closer so I can touch you, my son. Are you not really are you really my son Esau or not?" So Jacob came closer to his father Isaac. When he touched him, he said, "The voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau." He did not recognize him, because his hands were hairy like those of his brother Esau. So he blessed him. Again he asked, "Are you really my son Esau?" And he replied, "I am." And he said, "Bring it closer to me, and let me eat some of my son's game, so that I can bless you." Jacob brought it closer to him, and he ate it. He brought him wine, and he drank. His father Isaac said to him, "Please come closer and kiss me, my son." So he came closer and kissed him. Isaac smelled his clothes and blessed him and said, "Ah, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field that the Lord has blessed. May God give you from the dew of the sky, from the richness of the land, an abundance of grain and new wine. May people serve you and nations bow in homage to you. Be masters over your relatives. May your mother's sons bow in homage to you. Those who curse you will be cursed. Those who bless you will be blessed." As soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, and Jacob had left the presence of his father, his brother Esau arrived from hunting. He also made some delicious food and brought it to his father. He said to his father, "Let my father get up and eat some of my son's game, so you may bless me." But his father Isaac said to him, "Who are you?" He answered, "I am Esau, your firstborn." Isaac began to tremble uncontrollably. "Who was it then," he said, "who hunted game and brought it to me? I ate it all before you came in, and I blessed him. Indeed, he will be blessed." When he saw his father's words, he cried out with a loud, bitter cry, said to his father, "Bless me too, my father." He replied, "Your brother came deceitfully and took your blessing." So he said, "Isn't he rightfully named Jacob? For he has cheated me twice now. He took my birthright, and look, he has now taken my blessing." And he asked, "Haven't you saved the blessing for me?" But Isaac answered Esau, "Look, I have made him a master over you. I have given him all of his relatives, all of his servants, and have sustained him with grain and new wine. What then can I do for you, my son?" Esau said to his father, "Do you have only one blessing, my father? Bless me too, my father." And Esau wept loudly. His father Isaac answered him, "Look, your dwelling place will be away from the richness of this land, away from the dew of the sky above. You will live by your sword, and you will serve your brother. But when you rebel, you will break his yoke from your neck." Esau held a grudge against Jacob because of the blessing his father had given him. And Esau determined in his heart, "The days of mourning for my father are approaching, then I will kill my brother Jacob." When the words of their oldest son Esau were reported to Rebekah, she summoned her younger son Jacob and said to him, "Listen, your brother Esau is consoling himself by planning to kill you. So now, my son, listen to me. Flee at once, my brother Laban, into Haran. Flee at once to my brother Laban in Haran, and stay with him for a few days until your brother's anger subsides, till your brother's rage turns away from you and he forgets what you have done to him. And I will send for you and I'll bring you back from there. Why should I lose you both in one day? So Rebekah said to Isaac, I am sick of my life because of these Hethite girls. If Jacob marries someone from around here, like these Hethite girls, what good is my life? Chapter 28. So Isaac summoned Jacob, blessed him, and commanded him, do not marry a Canaanite girl. Go at once to Paddan Aram to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father. Marry one of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. May God Almighty bless that you may be fruitful and multiply, so that you may become an assembly of peoples. May God give you and your offspring the blessings of Abraham, so you may possess the land where you live as a foreigner, the land God gave to Abraham. So Isaac sent Jacob to Paddan Aram, to Laban's son Bethuel the Aramite. So Isaac sent Jacob to Paddan Aram, to Laban's son Bethuel the Aramean, the brother of Rebekah, the mother of Jacob and Esau. And Esau noticed how Isaac blessed Jacob and sent him to Paddan Aram to get a wife there. When he blessed him, Isaac commanded Jacob, do not marry a Canaanite girl. And Jacob listened to his father and mother and went to Paddan Aram. Esau realized that his father Isaac disapproved of the Canaanite women. So Esau went to Ishmael and married, in addition to his other wives, Mahalath, daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son. She was the sister of Nebaioth. Jacob left Beersheba and went toward Haran. He reached a certain place and spent the night and became the sun had set. He took one of the stones from the palace. Cut all that. Jacob left Beersheba and went towards Haran. He reached a certain place and spent the night there because the sun had set. He took one of the stones from the place, put it there in his head, and lay down in place. And he dreamed a stairway was set on the ground with its top reaching from the sky, and God's angels were going up and down it. The Lord was standing there beside him, saying, I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham, the God of Isaac, and I will give you offspring in the land of which you are lying. Your offspring will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out towards the west and the east, the north and the south. And all the people on earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. Look, I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go. I will bring you back to this land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. When Jacob awoke from his sleep, he said, surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. He was afraid and said, what an awesome place this is. It is none other than the house of God and the gate of heaven. Early in the morning, Jacob took the stone that was near his head and set it up as a marker. He poured the oil on top of it and named the place Bethel. And though previously the city was named Luz, then Jacob made a vow. If God be with me and watch over me during this journey I am making, if he provided me with food to eat and clothing to wear, if I return safely to my father's family, then the Lord will be my God. This stone I have set up as a marker to be the will of God's house. I'll give you a tenth of all that you give me. Chapter 29. Jacob resumed his journey and went to the eastern country. He looked and saw a well in the field. 3 flocks of sheep were lying there beside it. The sheep that was because sheep were watered from this well. A large stone covered the opening of the well. The shepherds would roll the stone from the opening of the well and water the sheep and the flocks. There was a gathering there, and they would return to the stone's place from the well's opening. Jacob asked the men from the well, my brothers, where are you from? We are from Haran, they answered. Do you know Laban, Nahor's grandson? Jacob asked them. They answered, we know him. Is he well? Jacob asked. Yes, they said. And he is his daughter Rachel, coming with his sheep. And Jacob said, Look, it is still broad daylight. It is not time for the animals to be gathered. Water the flock, then go out and let them graze. He replied, We cannot until all the flocks have been gathered and the stone is rolled from the well's opening. Then we will water the sheep. While he was still speaking with them, Rachel came to her father's sheep, for she was a shepherdess. As soon as Jacob saw his uncle Laban's daughter Rachel for his sheep, she went up and rolled the stone from the opening and watered his uncle Laban's sheep. Then Jacob kissed Rachel and wept loudly. He told Rachel that he was her father's relative, Rebekah's son. She ran and told her father. Laban heard the news about his sister's son Jacob. He ran to meet him, hugged him and kissed him, and took him to the house, and Jacob told him all that had happened. Laban said, Yes, you are my own flesh and blood. After Jacob stayed with him a month, Laban said to him, Just because you are my relative, should you work for me for nothing? Tell me what your wages should be. Now Laban had 2 daughters. The older was named Leah, and the younger was named Rachel. Leah had tender eyes, but Rachel was shapely and beautiful. Jacob loved Rachel, so he answered Laban, I'll work for you for 7 years for your younger daughter Rachel. Laban replied, Better that I give her to you than some other man. Stay with me. So Jacob worked 7 years for Rachel. They seemed like only a few days to him because of his love for her. So Jacob said to Laban, Since my time is complete, give me my wife so I can sleep with her. So Laban invited all the men of the palace. So Laban invited all the men of the place and sponsored a feast. That evening Laban took his daughter Leah and gave her to Jacob, and he slept with her. And Laban gave his slave Zilpah to his daughter Leah as her slave. When morning came, there was Leah. So he said to Laban, What have you done to me? Wasn't it for Rachel that I have worked for you? Why have you deceived me? Laban answered, It is not custom in our country to give the younger daughter in marriage before the firstborn. Complete this week of the wedding celebration. We will also give you the younger one in return for working yet another 7 years for me. And Jacob did just that. He finished the week of celebration. Laban gave him his daughter Rachel as wife, and Laban gave his slave Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as her slave. Jacob slept with Rachel also, and indeed he loved Rachel more than Leah, and he worked for Laban another 7 years. The Lord saw that Leah was neglected. He opened her womb, but Rachel was unable to conceive. Leah conceived and gave birth to a son, and named him Reuben, for she said, The Lord has seen my affliction. Surely my husband will love me now. She conceived again and gave birth to a son, and said, The Lord has heard that I am neglected, and has given me this son also. So she named him Simon. She conceived again and gave birth to a son, and said, At last my husband will become attached to me, because I have borne 3 sons for him. Therefore he was named Levi. She conceived again and gave birth to a son. This time I praised the Lord, therefore she named him Judah, and Leah stopped having children. Chapter 30. When Rachel saw that she was not bearing Jacob any children, she envied her sister. Give me sons or I will die, she said to Jacob. Jacob became angry with Rachel and said, Am I in the place of God? He has withheld offspring from you. Then she said, Here is my maid Bilhah. Go sleep with her, and she'll bear children for me, so that through her I can build a family. So Rachel gave her slave Bilhah to Jacob as a wife, and she slept with her. Bilhah conceived and bore Jacob a son. Rachel said, God has vindicated me, yes, yet he heard me and given me a son. So she named him Dan. Rachel's slave Bilhah conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. Rachel said, In my wrestlings with God I have wrestled my sister and won. She named him Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had stopped having children, she took her slave Zilpah and gave her to Jacob as a wife. Leah's slave Zilpah bore Jacob a son, and Leah said, What good fortune! And named him Gad. When Leah's slave Zilpah bore Jacob a second son, Leah said, I'm happy till the women call me happy. She named him Asher. Reuben went out during one of the wheat harvest and found some mandrakes in the field. When he brought them to his mother Leah, Rachel asked, "Please give me some of your son's mandrakes." But Leah replied to her son, "Isn't it enough that you have taken my husband? Now you also want to take my son's mandrakes?" "Well then," Rachel said, "he can sleep with you tonight in exchange for your son's mandrakes." When Jacob came in from the field that evening, Leah went out to meet him and said, "You must come with me, for I have hired you with my son's mandrakes." So Jacob slept with her that night. God listened to Leah, and she conceived and bore Jacob a fifth son. Leah said, "God has rewarded me with giving my slave to my husband." She named him Issachar. Then Leah conceived again and bore Jacob a sixth son. "God has given me a good gift," Leah said. "This time my husband will honor me because I have bore six sons for him." She named him Zebulun. Later Leah bore a daughter and named her Dinah. Then God remembered Rachel. He listened to her and opened her womb. She conceived and bore a son, and she said, "God has taken away my disgrace." She named him Joseph, and said, "May the Lord add another son for me." After Rachel gave birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, "Send me on my way so that I can return to my homeland. Give me my wives and my children that I have worked for, and let me go. You know how hard I have worked for you." Laban said to him, "If I found favor with you, stay. I have learned by divination that the Lord has blessed me because of you." Laban said, "Name your wages, and I will pay them." So Jacob said to him, "You know how I have served you, and how your herds have fared with me. You had very little before I came, but now your wealth has increased. The Lord has blessed you because of me, and now when will I also do something for my own family?" Laban asked, "What should I give you?" And Jacob said, "You do not need to give me anything. You do this one thing for me, and I will continue to shepherd and keep your flock. Let me go through all your sheep today, and remove every sheep that is speckled or spotted, every dark-colored sheep among the lambs, and the spotted and speckled ones among the female goats. Such will be my wages. In the future, when you come to check on my wages, my honesty will testify for me. And if any female goats that are not speckled or spotted, or any lambs that are not black, they will be considered stolen." "Good," said Laban. "Let it be as you have said." That day Laban removed the streaked and spotted male goats and all speckled and spotted female goats, every one that had any white on it, even the dark-colored ones among the lambs. And he placed his sons in charge of them, for the 3-day journey between himself and Jacob. Jacob, meanwhile, was shepherding the rest of Laban's flock. Jacob then took branches and fetched poplar almonds in the plain wood, and peeled bark exposing white stripes on the branches. He set the peeled branches and troughs in front of the sheep, and the water channels where the sheep came to drink. And the sheep bred when they came to drink. The flocks bred in front of the branches and bore streaked, speckled, and spotted young. Jacob separated the lambs and made the flocks face the streaked sheep, and the completely dark sheep on Laban's flocks. He set his own stock apart, and they didn't put them with Laban's sheep. Whenever the stronger of the flocks were breeding, Jacob placed the branches on the troughs in the full view of the flocks, and they would breed in front of the branches. As for the weakling of the flocks, he did not put out the branches. So it turned out that the weak sheep belonged to Laban, and the stronger ones to Jacob. And the man became very rich, and he had many flocks, female and male slaves, and camels and donkeys. When Jacob heard what Laban's sons were saying, "Jacob has taken all that was our father's and has built his wealth from what belonged to our father." And Jacob saw from Laban's face that his attitude toward him was not the same as before. The Lord said to him, "Go back to the land of your ancestors and to your family, and I will be with you." Jacob had Rachel and Leah called the field where his flocks were. He said to them, "I can see from your father's face that his attitude towards me is not the same as it was before. The God of my father has been with me. You know that with all my strength I have served your father, that he has cheated me and changed my wages 10 times, but God has not let him harm me. If he said, 'The spotted sheep will be your wages,' all the sheep were born spotted. If he said, 'The streaked sheep will be your wages,' all the sheep were born streaked. God has taken away your father's herds and given them to me. When the flocks were breeding, I saw in the dream that the streaked, spotted, and speckled males were mating with the females. In that dream the angel of God said to me, Jacob. And I said, Here I am. And he said, Look up and see. All the males that are mating with the flocks are streaked, spotted, and speckled. For I have seen all that Laban has been doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you poured oil on the stone marker and made a solemn vow to me. Get up, leave this land, and return to your native land. And Rachel and Leah answered to him, Do we have any portion or inheritance in our father's family? Are we not regarded by him as outsiders? For he has sold us and has certainly spent our purchase price. In fact, all the wealth that God has given me from our father belongs to us and to our children. So do whatever God has said to you. So Jacob got up and put his children and wives on the camels. He took all the livestock and possessions he had acquired in Paddan Aram, and drove his herds to the land of Canaan, to his father Isaac. When Laban had gone out to shear his sheep, Rachel stole her father's household idols, and Jacob deceived Laban and Armin, in telling him that he was fleeing. He fled with his possessions, crossing the Euphrates, and headed for the hill country of Gilead. On the third day Laban told Jacob he had fled, so he took his relatives with him, pursued Jacob for 7 days, and overtook him in the hill country of Gilead. The God came to him with Laban and me in a dream at night. Watch yourself, God warned him. Don't say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. When Laban took Jacob, Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country. Laban and his relatives also pitched their tents in the country of Gilead. Laban said to Jacob, What have you done? You have deceived me and taken my daughters away like prisoners of war. Why did you secretly flee from me, deceive me, and not tell me? I would have sent you away with joy and singing, with tambourines and lyres. You did not let me kiss my grandchildren, my daughters. You have acted foolishly. I could do you a great harm, but last night the God of your father said to me, Watch yourself. Do not say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. Now you have gone off because you long for your father's family, but why have you stolen my gods? Jacob answered, I was afraid, for I thought you would take your daughters from me by force. If you find your gods be with anyone here, he will not leave. He will not live. Before our relatives point out anything that is yours, and take it. Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen the idols. So Laban went into Jacob's tent, Leah's tents, and the tents of the 2 concubines. When he left Leah's tent, he went to Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken Laban's household idols, put them in the saddlebag of the camel, and sat on them. Laban searched the whole tent, but found nothing. She said to her father, Don't be angry, my lord. I cannot stand up in your presence. I am having my period. So Laban searched, but could not find the household idols. Then Jacob became incensed and brought charges against Laban. What is my crime? He said to Laban. What is my sin that you have pursued me? You searched all my possessions. Have you found anything of yours? Put it here before my relatives and yours, and let them decide between the 2 of us. I've been with you these 20 years. Your ewes and your female goats have not miscarried. I have not eaten the rams from your flock. I did not bring you any flock torn by wild beasts. I myself bore the loss. You demanded payment from me for what was stolen by day or by night. There I was in the heat, consumed by the day and by the frost of night. Your sheep fled from my eyes. For 20 years in your household I served you. 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your flocks, and you have changed my wages 10 times. The God of my father, the God of Abraham, the fear of Isaac, had not been with me, certainly now you would have sent me off empty-handed. But God has seen my affliction and my hard work, and has issued his verdict last night. Then Laban answered Jacob, The daughters are my daughters, the children my children, the flocks my flocks. Everything you see is mine, but what can I do today for these daughters are mine or the children they have borne? Come now, let us make a covenant, you and I, for let us be witness between the 2 of us. Jacob picked up a stone and set it as a marker. And Jacob said to his relatives, Gather stones. And they took stones and made a mound, and ate there by the mound. Laban named the mound Jagar Sachadulha, and then Jacob named it Galid. And Laban said, This mound is a witness between you and me today. Therefore the place was called Galid and also Mizpah. For he said, May the Lord watch between you and me, and we are out there at each other's sight. You mistreat my daughters or take other wives, though none is with us, understand that God will be a witness between you and me. Laban also said to Jacob, Look at this mound and the marker set up between you and me. This mound is a witness, and the marker is a witness that I will not pass beyond this mound to you, and you will not pass beyond this mound and this marker to do me harm. And the God of Abraham and the gods of Nahor, the gods of their father, will judge between us. And Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. And Jacob offered a sacrifice on the mountain and invited his relatives to eat a meal. They ate a meal and spent the night on the mountain. Laban got up early in the morning, kissed his grandchildren and daughters, and blessed them. Then Laban left to return home. Chapter 32. Jacob went on his way, and God's angels met him. When he saw them, Jacob said, This is God's camp. So he called that place Mahanaim. Jacob sent messengers ahead of him to his brother Esau, the land of Seir, the territory of Edom. He commanded them, You are to say, My lord Esau, this is what your servant Jacob says. For I have been staying with Laban, and I have been delayed until now. I have oxen, donkeys, flocks, male and female slaves. I have sent this message to inform you, my lord, in order to seek your favor. When the messengers returned to Jacob, they said, We went to your brother Esau. He is coming to meet you. He has 400 men with him. Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed. He divided the people with him into two camps, along with his flocks and herds and camels. He thought, If Esau comes to one camp and attacks it, the remaining one can escape. Jacob said, God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, the Lord who said to me, Go back to your land and your family, and I will cause you to prosper. I am unworthy of all your kindness and faithfulness you have shown to your servant. Indeed, I crossed over the Jordan with my staff, and now I have become two camps. Please rescue me from my brother Esau, for I am afraid of him. Otherwise he may come and attack me, the mothers and their children. You have said, I will cause you to prosper, and I will make your offspring like the sand of the sea, too numerous to be counted. He spent the night there and took part in what he fought between them for the gifts of brothers Esau, 200 female goats, 20 male goats, 200 ewes, 20 rams, 30 milk camels and their young, 40 cows, 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys, 10 male donkeys. He entrusted them to his slaves and separated the herds and said to them, Go on ahead of me and leave some distance between the herds. And he told the first one, When my brother Esau meets you and asks, Who are you going to belong to? Where are you going? And whose animals are these ahead of you? Then tell him they belong to your servant Jacob. They are gifts sent for us to Lord Esau. And look, he is behind us. They also told the second one, the third, and everyone who was walking behind the animals. Say the same thing to Esau when you find him. You also say, Look, your servant Jacob is right behind us. For he thought, I want to appease Esau with the gift that is going ahead of me. After that I can face him, and perhaps he will forgive me. So the gift was sent him ahead of him, while he remained in the camp that night. In the night Jacob got up and took his 2 wives, 2 slave women, and 11 sons, and crossed the fork of Jabbok. He took them and sent them across the stream along with all his possessions. Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until daybreak. When the man saw that he could not defeat him, he struck Jacob's hip socket. They wrestled and dislocated his hip. He said to Jacob, Let me go, for it is daybreak. But Jacob said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. What is your name? The man asked. Jacob, he answered. Your name will no longer be Jacob, he said. It will be Israel, because you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed. And Jacob asked him, Please tell me your name. He answered, Why do you ask my name? And he blessed him there. Jacob named the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face and said, Yet my life has been spared. The sun shone on him, and he passed Peniel, limping because of his hip. This is why still today the Israelites don't need the thigh muscle that is the hip socket, because he struck Jacob's hip socket, the thigh muscle. Now Jacob looked up and saw Esau coming toward him and the 400 men. So he divided the children among Leah, Rachel, and the 2 slave women. but the slaves and their children first, Leah and her children next, and Rachel and Joseph last. He himself went on ahead and bowed on the ground 7 times until he approached his brother. Esau ran to meet him, hugged him, threw his arms around him, and kissed him, and then they wept. When Esau looked up and saw the women and children, he asked, "Who are these with you?" He answered, "The children God has graciously given your servant." Then the slaves and the children approached him and bowed down. Leah and her children also approached and bowed down. Then Joseph and Rachel approached and bowed down. So Esau said, "What do you mean by this whole procession I met? To find favor with you, my lord." He answered, "I have enough, my brother." Esau replied, "Keep what you have." But Jacob said, "No, please. I have found favor with you. Take these gifts from me, for indeed I have seen your face. And it is like seeing God's face, since you have accepted me. Please take my present that was brought to you, because God has been gracious to me, and I have everything I need." So Jacob urged him until he accepted. Then Esau said, "Let's move on, and I'll go ahead of you." Jacob replied, "My Lord knows that the children are weak, and I have nursing flocks and herds. If they are driven hard for one day, the whole herd will die. Let my Lord go ahead of his servant, and I will continue on slowly at a pace suited to the livestock and the children until I come to my Lord at Seir." Esau said, "Let me leave some of my people with you." But he replied, "Why do that? Please indulge me, my Lord." That day Esau started on his way back to Seir, but Jacob went to Succoth. He built a house for himself, and shelters and his livestock. That is why the place is called Succoth. After Jacob came from Paddan Aram, he arrived safely at Shechem, the land of Canaan, and camped in front of the city. He purchased a section of the field where he pitched his tents from the sons of Hamor, Shechem's father, and 100 pieces of silver. Set up an altar, and there called it God, the God of Israel. Leah's daughter Dinah, whom Leah bore to Jacob, went out to see some of the young women of the area. When Shechem, the son of Hamor the Hivite, who was the region's chieftain, saw her, he took her and raped her, and became infatuated with Jacob's daughter Dinah. He loved the young girl and spoke tenderly of her. "Get me this girl as a wife," he told his father. Jacob heard that Shechem had defiled his daughter Dinah, but since his sons were with his livestock in the field, he remained silent until they returned. Meanwhile, Shechem's father, Hamor, came to speak with Jacob. Jacob's son returned to the field, and they had about the incident. They were deeply grieved and very angry, for Shechem committed an outrage against Israel by raping Jacob's daughter, and such a thing should not be done. And Hamor said to Jacob's sons, "My son Shechem had given his heart set on your daughter. Please give him to you as a wife. Intermarry with us, give us your daughters, and take our daughters for yourselves. Live with us in the land before you. Settle here, move about, and acquire property on it." And Shechem said to Dinah's father and brothers, "Grant me this favor, and I'll give you whatever you say. Demand of me a high compensation and gift. I'll give you whatever you ask of me. Just give the girl to be my wife." But Jacob's sons answered Shechem and his father Hamor deceitfully, because he had defiled their sister Dinah. "We cannot do this thing," they said to them. "Giving our sister to an uncircumcised man is a disgrace to us. We will agree with you only on the condition if all your males are circumcised, as we are. Then we'll give you our daughters, take your daughters for yourselves, live with you and become one people. But if you will not listen to us and be circumcised, then we will take our daughters and go." The words seemed too good to Hamor and his son Shechem. The young man did not delay with doing this, because he was delighted with Jacob's daughter. Now he was the most important in all of his family. So Hamor and his son Shechem went to the gate of their city and spoke to the men of their city. "These men are peaceful toward us," they said. "Let them live in our land and move about in it, for indeed the region is large enough for them. Let's take their daughters as our wives and give our daughters to them. But the men will agree to live with us and be one people on this one condition: all our men are circumcised as they are. Won't their livestock, their possessions, and their animals become ours? Only let's agree with them, and they'll live with us." All the men who had come to the city gates listened to Hamor and his son Shechem, and all those men were circumcised. On the third day, when those were still in pain, two of Jacob's sons, Simon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took their swords, went to the unsuspecting city, and killed every male. They killed Hamor and his son Shechem with their swords, took Dinah from Shechem's house, and went away. Jacob's sons came to the slaughter and plundered the city because their sister had been defiled. They took their flocks, herds, donkeys, and whatever was in the city and the field. They captured all their possessions, dependents, and wives, and plundered everything in the houses. Then Jacob said to Simon and Levi, "You have brought trouble on me, making me odious unto the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites and the Perizzites. We are few in number, and if they unite against me and attack me, I and my household will be destroyed." They answered, "Should he treat our sister like a prostitute?" Chapter 35. Chapter 35. God said to Jacob, "Get up, go to Bethel and settle there. Build an altar there to the God who appeared to you when you were fled from your brother Esau." So Jacob said to his family and all who were with him, "Get rid of the foreign gods that are among you. Purify yourselves and change your clothes. You must get up and go to Bethel. I will build an altar there to the God who answered me in the day of distress. He has been there with me everywhere I have gone." They gave Jacob all their foreign gods and their earrings, and Jacob hid them under the oak near Shechem. When they set out, a terror from God came over the cities around them. They did not pursue Jacob's sons. So Jacob and all who were with him came to Luz, that is, Bethel, the land of Canaan. Jacob built an altar there and was called the place El Bethel, because it was there that God had revealed to him when he was fleeing from his brother. Deborah, the one who had nursed and raised Rebekah, died and was buried under the oak sound of Bethel. So Jacob named it Alon Bakuth. God appeared to Jacob again, and he turned the pattern around, and he blessed him. God said to him, "Your name is Jacob. You will no longer be named Jacob, but your name will be Israel." So he named him Israel. And God said to him, "I am the God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation indeed, an assembly of nations will come from you, and kings will descend from you. I will give to you the land I gave to Abraham and Isaac, and I will give the land to your future descendants." And God withdrew from him at the place where he had spoken to him. Jacob set up a marker at the place where he had spoken to him, a stone marker. He poured a drink offering on it and poured on it. Jacob named the place where God had spoken to him Bethel. They set out from Bethel when they were still in the distance from Ephrath. Rachel began to give birth, and her labor was difficult. During her difficult labor, the midwife said to her, "Don't be afraid, for you have another son." With her last breath, she was dying. She named him Ben-Oni. But his father called him Benjamin. So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. Jacob set up a marker on her grave, and the marker is Rachel's grave to this day. Israel set out again and pitched his tent beyond the tower Edur. While Israel was in the living region, Reuben went in and slept with his father's concubine, Bilhah, and Israel heard about it. Jacob had 12 sons. Leah's sons were Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, Simon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun. Rachel's sons were Joseph and Benjamin. Son of Rachel's slave Bilhah were Dan and Naphtali. Son of Leah's slaves Zilphath were Gad and Asher. And these sons of Jacob were born to him in Paddan Aram. Jacob came to his father Isaac at Mamre in Canaan Bar, which is Hebron, where Abraham lived and Isaac stayed. Isaac lived 180 years and took his last breath and died. He was gathered to his people, old and full of days. His sons Esau and Jacob buried him. Hold on, I need a break.